What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. Hope you're all having a great Thursday, just like I hopefully am, because I'm filming this on Wednesday. But today's video is going to be about the Sport Trac. We haven't done a primarily Sport Trac focused video in a minute, I believe since the misfire fix video. But today's video is going to be about the Sport Trac. In case you're new to my channel, this is my 03 Sport Trac. And today's video is talking about the purpose I plan on using this thing for and how I'm going to get it prepped for that in its current state. So to move into that, if you guys aren't new, this is going to be a future drag truck. It's in the about section on this channel if you guys are new and you didn't know that, along with some other information on my channel and all that stuff, so you guys can go check that out if you'd like. But this is going to be a drag truck in the future. Currently the mods it has a Spec D intake, which is gonna go away because it's garbage. It's got currently stock motor, stock internals, 210 horsepower. It's got about 224,000 miles, almost 225,000. So obviously the motor's in no shape, but to be racing, but we're gonna work on that. We've also got a Excel ignition coil. That was the latest mod we added to this thing. We unbolted all that stuff in the previous video. So if you guys want to go check that out and see if we fixed the misfire this thing was having and added some power to it, you can go there. And we also have, on the aesthetic side, Motive 20-inch 409B wheels, wrapped on 245/50 R20s. I believe they're 50. Can't see the ratings. There they are. Yeah, 50. So 245/50 R20s. We've got those on all four corners. We also have a custom Flowmaster axle back that was a graduation gift. Actually, in case you didn't know, the wheels and the exhaust were graduation gifts from when I graduated high school. So, and that's been about a little over a year now. It's crazy. But that's all of the aesthetic mods, not including the badge work and stuff. We have the 4.0 side vendor badges. We have the Eagle Motorsport headlights. These are actually eBay, in case you're wondering, and they hold up really well. I've been really impressed with these. We also have the front plate, which I hope you guys don't mind. It's disgusting. I know it doesn't necessarily match yet because this thing is not lowered, but we're working on that. I just had it on there because it got here first. And we have the windshield banner, which you guys may or may not know where that's from. So the first thing we need to bring up on this whole video is, well, I'm wanting to build this for drag racing. What needs to be done to get it ready? So besides all the performance stuff, which I'll mention later in the video, if I wanted to take it right now in its current state, there's some things that can be done. So as you can tell by my driveway, there's a pretty good leak going on down there. That's actually two fluids like leaking out and mixing together right there, which are oil and power steering fluid. This thing does have two oil leaks, I found out. I believe it may be just one oil leak that's just dripping down the sides, because I do have a valve cover leak. I can tell that for sure. They're bad gaskets and they just let out a lot of oil and stuff just all the time. I'm having to constantly fill it up with oil just to make sure it still runs good and all that stuff. I've never had lifter tick though. I can safely say for now I haven't had a single lifter tick problem. So I've kept pretty good tabs on it. So we're gonna move on from that. We also have the differential leaking, which just recently started. It's been saturated for a while, but it hasn't actually started escaping the differential until recently. So we're working on that. I have all the parts here. I've got diff fluid. I've got a gasket. I just haven't had the time to put it in the garage, tear the diff apart, all that stuff. That'll be its own video, because we'll get to inspect my gears and all that stuff. Because in case you didn't know, Sport Tracs came stock with 373s, which are pretty good gear ratios, I'd say. I don't plan on upgrading the gears, by the way. I plan on staying with 373s because this is going to be a daily as well. So we got diff, we've got oil, and we've got power steering fluid all leaking at once. So most, if not all, drag strips will not allow you to race if you have leaks. So first off, I need to get a new power steering rack. I need to get the oil leak found out and fixed. I believe one of them is the main seal. The second one that's actually dripping on the ground. I mean, granted, it could be from the valve cover gasket, but I'm not entirely sure. I know that one does cause the smoking in the engine bay, because that does happen if you pay really close attention on this right side. You see there's lots of oil just smoking from right here, from where it's leaking out of the gasket. So I would have popped the hood, but I'm just not feeling it. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna pop the hood just to show you guys what I mean. So we're gonna go ahead and hop inside here. Yes, I have a keyless entry mode. I don't have it wired up. I know probably some of you guys have been wondering about that. Oh, I also forgot while we're in here, another mod I have is this X4 tuner. It is running a custom flash, but it's not the tune that I ordered. It is currently just a preset XCT setup. All right. So, as you see under here, we have the XL coil, and we also have the right side valve cover. Now, this is the one that smokes. It smokes usually about where this module right here is. It's usually where it emanates a little bit of oil. Burns up pretty quick though. And that's that. We've gone through here a few times and tried to clean it, but we can definitely tell it's a gasket. And at one point, we actually tried changing them, and we found out that the covers were loose. So we tightened them back down. So that's not our problem, obviously. We thought the covers were just loose, but it started smoking immediately as soon as we cranked it back up. So we found out definitely valve cover. So this is the coil we installed recently. So that's one of the 3 leaks. So the second leak is coming from down under here. You can see the puddle that's left along with the oil. And here's the power steering reservoir. I just filled it up yesterday, so no need to worry about that. And then I'll show you guys the final leak, which is the big one that I'm worried about the most, I think, right now. And that is down here on the differential. You can totally see how it's very saturated right now, and you can see there's some dripping underneath it. So definitely not saturated anymore. It's actually leaking. So like I said, I've got a gasket, I've got fluid, I just haven't changed it yet. So we're gonna work on that in a future video though, for sure. So that's basically all I need like to get started in its current state. If I wanted to take the Trac with a 224,000 mile motor on it, I could do it, but I need to fix those leaks first. So I would need valve cover gaskets, which I have. I just haven't had them changed. I need to figure out what's causing the leak on the bottom side of the motor, which again could be a main seal. I'd hope not, but because that means that the transmission would have to come off, which is another pain in the butt on its own. And then of course we got the diff leak, which should be easy. I've already got all parts for that, so that's paid for. And then of course the power steering, I need a rack, which is about 250 bucks for a refurbished one, which is probably the way I'd go, because I just do not want to order a brand new rack from Ford. That's gonna be pricey, and it's a pain in the butt to install. So that's all the stuff that is needed to go to the Trac right now. If I wanted to take it to Atlanta Dragway or Atlanta Motor Speedway's Friday night drags, that's all I would need. Granted, I would not run good times. I'd run like a 15 or a 16, but it'd be a good place to start, you know, get the feel for drag racing, all that stuff. Of course, I need a helmet on top of that, but here's the optional stuff that is planning on happening that I haven't really worked on yet. So the first off is with the motor. So obviously, as I said, it's a 224,000 mile engine. This engine is not going to handle a drag strip. It'll probably get a few passes and then I'll start seeing issues with it. So definitely don't want to push this engine hard on the drag strip in its current state. Red 4.0s are pretty tough engines, but I just do not want to risk blowing this motor, especially since this is my daily and my only car. So I want to get the motor pulled. This September, I believe, is what we're planning on it. We're gonna have this motor out of the truck. We're gonna have it completely redone. The block's gonna be refreshed. We're gonna have stage 3 heads and cams from Super 6 Motorsports. We're gonna have the valve covers redone and a grabber blue, race blue, whatever you want to call it. Currently, I'm not planning on touching this intake because I do plan on going supercharger eventually. So that's gonna be left alone. I'm not gonna port it or anything. I would port it if I was going to plan on staying NA, but an NA 4.0 does not make good power. Or if I was turboing it, maybe I'd port it. But again, I'm going blower, so there's obviously going to be an Eaton M90 or an M112 sitting right here. So, of course, then I'll upgrade the intake as well. This intake is pure trash. If you're a Sport Trac owner, I do not recommend buying the Spec D. I've heard the K&N doesn't fit. This is just something that I've heard. I can't confirm or deny that. So, if you can get the K&N to fit, cool. But this does not. This is just crap. It fits, obviously, but it's on the radiator. You know, it's the filter is trash, and it actually causes a gurgling noise, which a lot of people thought was a misfire, and I thought it was a misfire when it first started doing it. But I found out that it didn't start misfiring until the coil went bad. So it's not misfiring now. I haven't had any issues with misfires. It just does that gurgling noise, drops the RPM as if it's a misfire. But no lights or anything, so I can basically say it's not a misfire until the light shows up again, which it isn't. It hasn't. So I can definitely tell something wrong with the air intake system. So because it only drops the RPM when it does the gurgle noise. So obviously there's not a problem as if of a ignition problem now. It's an air problem. So obviously this intake's trash. If I swapped it back to the stock intake, be much better off, but I don't have a new drop-in filter for that. That filter's garbage, and pretty much I've torn out everything the stock box used and broke part of it a little bit. So it's useless to me, and I can't put it back in here anyway. So we're just gonna probably swap that filter out eventually anyway. So we've got what's going on with the engine out of the way now for what I want to do. The next thing we're going to talk about wheels and tires. I've said in multiple videos I plan on getting JMS Ultras, the same wheels that Mustang Lifestyle uses. The front wheels are 17s by 4.5, they're skinnies. And then the backs are 15 by 10s. So I'm going back to having small wheels again. In case you didn't know, when I first got the Sport Trac, it had 16s on it. I upgraded to 20s. And those wheels were so small. And they were just the ugly, like, cookie cutter design Ford used. And you can get them on other Explorer models as well. So that's that. So wheels and tires will be the second thing I go for. But the most important piece that's going to go with that wheels and tire setup is converting to unlimited slip diff. And that's why I was talking earlier about looking at my gears and checking if they need to be replaced. Because if I do this, if I swap it to limited slip, if I can, I want to transfer my gears over. Because 373s are not cheap gears to buy. So I'd like to stay with those 373s that I have, because that's less upgrading for me to do, obviously. So we'll see how that works out. I don't know how that'll work. We'll have to tear apart the diff and find out. But I do not want to buy gears, but if I have to, obviously I will. So that's that. Obviously the supercharger, so the last thing I do will be right here. We haven't figured that out yet. I'm working with Josh a little bit over at Online Parts Pro, who is the sponsor of this channel. And we're gonna see if we can piece together a Cobra Terminator like supercharger kit on this truck. If we can't, we're gonna use the mod box, which is what Josh himself runs on his truck, and we're gonna port that blower and all that jazz. So, but anyway, that's it for this video. Hope you all enjoyed, and I'll see you guys next one.